Welcome to another episode of the Online Prosperity Experience podcast. You're about to hear your host, Prosper Taravinga's powerful digital marketing strategies and actionable tactics that you can use right now. Prosper has helped more than 50,000 people from over 10 countries to create meaningful businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Listen to this podcast so that you too can build your own business with less stress and overwhelm. Let's get started.
The Internet Explorer secret of yellow cars. Ha 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 ha. Oh my. So if you caught episode number 46, I think this is episode number 47. Episode number 46, we introduced that our secret code name is Internet Explorer. So if you haven't checked out episode number 46, be sure to go and look at it because it's carrying heat, and I reveal a secret so powerful that it can actually work to change how you actually do business. And so I got a bit of feedback from a few of my listeners, the new Internet Explorers, and a lot of people gave me a few ways to do our handshake. I'll be sharing that as we go along. But today I just thought maybe, you know what? I really need to explore more about this yellow cars phenomenon that I mentioned in episode number 46. And if you haven't listened to episode number 46, this is just a recap, okay? So basically we're talking about how your brain is like a goal-seeking mechanism, which basically if you give your brain a goal, it will definitely go out and fulfill that goal. It will bring you the systems, the processes, the people, and tools that you need in order for you to achieve that goal. And once you achieve that goal, you are rewarded. Okay, so as a coach or consultant or small to medium business who has recently been christened as an Internet Explorer, you go about your day, you know what I mean? You're just walking around and whoop, all of a sudden you see a yellow car, right? And you're like, oh, okay, that's a bit of a different car. And soon after that, everything that you start seeing around you is just yellow. You see somebody wearing yellow shoes, or you see a dog wearing a yellow vest, and then you see a person who's, stopping the traffic wearing a yellow vest, and all you just start seeing is yellow. You know why that happens? It's called your reticular activated system, which basically means your brain is now focusing on that particular thing that you're paying attention to, okay? And I explained in episode number 46 that this is, a phenomenon that if you would use it, you could start training your audience to seek you out in a sea of Me Too people out there. And I gave an example of how when I was growing up, we didn't have any role models, but I had a teacher that came to my school who basically changed my outlook on life, and she became my yellow car, okay? And I started following what she was doing, and that became a new reference point for me, to learn what the world was like out there. And as soon as I landed in Australia, that was the goal, right? And then my brain is now like, now what? All right. So I started noticing there was yellow, there was not a lot of yellow cars, and the only yellow cars that were there were taxis. And so I started making it a point for myself to start looking out for those yellow cars. And that's where I came up with this yellow cars phenomenon. All right. So before you started listening to this podcast, maybe the color yellow was not even in your periphery. But if you look around now, all you start sporting is yellow, and instantly you just experience maybe a quantum leap in your ability to start perceiving the color yellow. But that's not it. That color was there in the universe all along, but your brain was not trained to look at it, or was not drawn to focus to look at it. All right. Now you might think, oh, that's cool. Now I can see yellow. You see, even when I'm looking around my office, there's like yellow. What do you call these papers? What do you call them? I can't think right now. Internet Explorer, help me. What papers do I have in my hand? What do you call them? Post-it notes. I've got yellow Post-it notes, right? And Sorry, my Internet Explorer. My brain is moving so fast, thinking the color yellow and forgetting words. All right, so there we go. All right, so that's cool, you might think, but why is it such a powerful secret, especially if you want to master marketing or actually, make sense of the world around you or anything else in life? Because let me tell you something. For the words yellow car, you want to substitute them for maybe an irresistible offer for your audience. You want to substitute them for irresistible consulting, irresistible training, irresistible information, irresistible expertise, a career of your dreams, a new report, that will sell like wildfire. You won't likely stumble across any of these things by just going through life staring blankly in the universe. But you will spot things that you put your mind to, okay? And once you look specifically and exclusively and persistently, you will start seeing the color yellow around you. And that's what your customers are going through right now. And in short, intention facilitates perception. All right. So that's pretty much what I was talking about in the last episode. And people were like, wow, give us specific examples of how that relates, especially to marketing and maybe making sense of the internet. Oh, I dare say the world around us. As internet explorers, we are just going about the world, not focusing on anything. You probably are just cold calling potential clients and maybe having them hang up in your face. And you're probably sending out hundreds of emails without even getting as much as, hey, thank you so much for reaching out. And you're wasting thousands of dollars on ad spend without even generating any qualified leads. And sometimes it might actually feel like maybe no one wants to buy what you're selling. And when you rely on your business to maybe pay rent and put food on the table, man, it can put an enormous strain on your emotions, and you're probably terrified right now and having had to sort of maybe give up on your dreams or maybe return to a safe 9 to 5 because you can't bring in new clients. It's because you haven't created your business, your reputation, your authority in such a way that you're engaging audience, you're educating them, inspiring them, and positioning yourself as the go-to yellow car in your industry. However, think about that. I mean, imagine this. As an internet explorer like you are, you're probably surfing the web right now while you're listening to this podcast. And then you might get distracted. That happens to everyone. Your clients are constantly distracted. Either it's their TV, it's their dog, it's their smartphone, it's their employee, or somebody who wants their attention. And they just hear ding, 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 and their brain is trained to make sure they get that answer. All right. I think it was Pavlov who trained his dogs that every time he plays the bell, it represented meal time. It represented meal time. And we've been trained, to listen to those dings on our phones to represent a dopamine rush because maybe somebody has liked your Facebook post, maybe somebody has liked your tweet or something like that. And if you are fighting against that, it's a battle that you never win. So how do you become the yellow car for your customers? And this is a scenario we can all relate to. I was seeking out for yellow cars just so I could make sense of a new environment that I'd landed myself in. Like I said earlier on, in Melbourne, the time that I showed up in this place, things were tough for me. But for me to anchor myself, I just started looking around and made it a game to start sporting out yellow cars, just so that it grounds me into where I was. And I noticed that all the yellow cars that were there were taxis. And then I started trying to figure out how many civilian yellow cars are out there. And it became a game for me. So what is it that your customers are seeking out that you can be the only person that's placed in order to get their attention? Because let me tell you something. People come to the internet to get information. And today, what I'm highlighting is a very real problem that is costing you, my Internet Explorer, millions, if not billions of dollars. And don't get me wrong, if you could get the attention of all the people that you could sell to, you'll be a millionaire by now. Maybe you are, but you could be a billionaire by now. And the problem is, my Internet Explorer, your audience is available. Your audience attention capacity is not actually growing as much as the online content that's available to them is. And online content is growing exponentially. The internet is an ungrateful content beast. You know, when people like Gary Vee came up and started saying content is king, everyone and their dog started creating content. And I literally mean everyone and their dog. How many dogs do you know that are famous on TikTok? So not only is the amount of available content growing at a lightning fast pace, your audience is bombarded with other distractions, both online and offline. So your potential, audience, whom you want to become customers after, is getting harder and harder to reach. It's becoming more and more challenging for you to win their attention and actually keep it. We're spending far too much money. Like I said earlier on, you're probably sending out hundreds of emails without even getting as much as, hey, thanks for reaching out. Or you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars on ad spend without generating any qualified leads. It's becoming much more challenging to win their attention and keep it. And you must keep it because you're spending money to reach out to them, and it costs a whole lot of money to get a new customer than it costs for you to actually sell to somebody who already knows, likes, and trusts you. And when people show up at your website, you have to convert them. Otherwise, grand opening, grand closing. You know? So today let's talk about how you can grab this attention and keep your potential customers' attention, because both of these are critical, especially if you want to be a successful internet explorer like you are, my friend. The reason why you're only listening to this is because you now have a relevance filter. You now got to trust that the information that I share with you is of utmost value. Because I've gotten you to, I understand your pain. I understand what you're looking for. All right? Which is what your brain is filtering towards. People respond online or offline to the input that they view as relevant to them and their situation. And there's a sound psychological reason behind this, because if you noticed everything that's happening around you, your brain would explode. You know, we used to joke around this when we were kids, how a chameleon changes its skin color based on the environment. And there was a significant belief that we had that the chameleon can't change to the color red. All right. And all we used to try and do, because apparently there's not enough red in like the African savanna, trees get orange or whatever, so there's no color red. So its chemical combination that makes it change its color is not trained for the color red. And apparently if you put a red environment around it, it would actually explode, because it's trying to match and find that red which it doesn't have within its its skin chemical composition. So it actually runs, and we liked seeing how a chameleon used to run with its eyes that going 360, because it can't match the environment that it was in. So it basically would run away from that environment up until it found an environment where it blended in. And that's how your brain works, my friend. Your brain is always seeking out for where it can blend in and not have to overexpand itself. We have a portion of our brain called the reticular activating system. That, my friend, is where the phenomenon of the yellow cars comes from. So your RAS, reticular activated system, it actually filters sensory inputs that your brain receives. Because of it, we tend to ignore inputs that we think are not relevant to us, but we focus on inputs that we view as relevant. And let me give you an example of how it actually works. And you've heard this example a lot of times. And we're using since we're using yellow cars as an example, let's say you buy a shiny new yellow car and you love it, and you're constantly thinking about your new yellow car. And before you bought it, you might not have noticed any yellow cars, and or gave it a second glance, or the color yellow. All right? But now all you see is the color yellow around you, let alone yellow cars, but yellow. Because I keep repeating the color yellow, and I'm using slow tone so that you really grasp yellow cars. And then you say to yourself, why? How come so many people have copied me and started buying yellow cars? No, they didn't copy you, my friend, my Internet Explorer friend. And also, we've got a new name. We're now called Internet Explorers. So you need to submit, your how you think we should have a secret handshake, because I think we need to be very secretive about this new club that we now have, you, me, and the rest of the other people that listen to the Online Prosperity Experience, my Internet Explorer friend. Okay, we should seek each other out, you and other yellow Internet Explorers that are out there. So as I was saying, people didn't copy you, bro. People didn't copy you, sis. Those yellow cars were there all along, but you didn't notice them. And now you do, because you know what? You've trained your brain to seek out yellow cars, and it has become a relevant topic in your life. And this is a prime example of RAS, the reticular activated system at work. So you can either work against it, or maybe you if you want to use it to your advantage. You know why? Because once you understand what your customers want and what their pain is and what they're looking for out there, you now understand what is relevant to them. You now understand what they're seeking out there. You'll now understand what their brains are looking for. And that's the reason why most of the time, my Internet Explorer friend, I always start off with identifying our target audience. And it doesn't matter how much effort you put in the design of your website, or how you sound on the podcast, or your copywriting, or your content, all of that stuff. If your audience doesn't want what you're offering, you're sunk, bruh. You're like a yellow submarine. Oh, that was good. Yeah, you got to pay me that one. That one was good. You're sunk, bro. You're sunk, sis. My Internet Explorer friend, either offer a different product or choose a new audience. That's exactly what you are going to have to do, because you can't invite people to a party. Let's say they're all vegetarians, and if you go to barbecue, maybe you can put some vegetables on the barbecue, but vegetarians don't want steak, bruh. And also, if you're an Internet Explorer, you would understand that I'm just used to saying bruh, homie, all of that stuff. That is just out of love and respect, because you're my Internet Explorer friend. Here's a weird sort of example that I want to use, especially to make a valuable point, especially these days where people are now blurring the whole thing between meats, like there's that Beyond Meat thing, and that fake meat that they're coming up with, or whatever. Let's say you're desperately trying to win maybe the attention of people that are vegans or vegetarians. And so you market recipe books to them. Let's say that's what you're doing. And you try to reach them by talking about great recipes and grilling techniques for a ribeye steak. Your copy, your design, every one of those things is fantastic. The beauty, you have beautiful, high quality photos of maybe you smoking a ribeye or grilling a ribeye, and it's nestled in a plate side by side with some very tasty dishes with lemon to squeeze and everything else, and it's all marinated in such. Oh, you can't do this to a hungry kid from Africa, man. Now. Can you hear my stomach is rumbling? My Internet Explorer friend, let's have fun. You see what the problem is here? I think you got it. Your market is not vegetarians. And it doesn't matter how effective your marketing might be. People will not listen to marketing that is not directed at them, my Internet Explorer friend. You won't get their attention to begin with. And because they don't want steak, and they're never going to eat steak. So you and your ribeye or your steak knives are not going to be heard. You are not going to market to a vegetarian or whoever is in your audience. You have to speak in terms of what interests them. And if this is not your first episode, unomboziva here kuti mazuva andinotaura chirudzi changu mese munokanganwa manje kuti mukomana uyu anoziva zvaari kutaura. Did you just hear what I said? Ndikatanga kutaura chirudzi chamusinganzwa ungandinzwe. Don't touch that dial or try and do anything to your podcast player. No, I'm speaking in a language that I clearly know you don't understand unless you're Zimbabwean. You want to speak in terms of what is important to your customer. What interests him may not be what interests you. If you like tiramisu, you can't go fishing with cake. All right? Because fish like worms. Yes, you bring beer and whatever snacks that you have, but that's not for the fish, that's for you. While you give fish the bait that they want, which happens to be worm. And don't try and sugarcoat the worm and maybe think fish would want it better. No, they just want that which they want. So what interests him may not be what interests you. You may want to talk about your company, your products, your goals, you're winning people's attention, but are you converting though? People don't care about your company products. They don't care about your solutions because the RAS will filter your marketing message, and there's a good chance they'll never notice you if you are not speaking directly to their pain and showing them the actual future that they want. My Internet Explorer, they don't care about that. Are you justifying their failures? Are you encouraging their dreams? Are you confirming their suspicions or helping them throw rocks at their enemies? Let me tell you something, man. To win their initial attention, talk to them about them and what's important to them. Please allow me to repeat that, my Internet Explorer. To win people's attention, talk to them about them regarding what's important to them. They probably have a nagging problem that needs to be solved, and maybe they have a goal that they want to reach. Either way, they are online searching for help, just like you, my Internet Explorer, is searching for somebody to help them generate hundreds of qualified leads. And since you're an explorer, I hereby let you know that you have arrived. I want to help you because I understand that as an entrepreneur, marketing is just one aspect of running a successful business. I know you're hiring and managing new stuff, and you're balancing books and maybe growing, driving growth in your business and a whole lot more of other things that are happening behind the scenes, and you might feel like it's a constant balancing act where you're sort of pulled in multiple different directions all at once. At the end of the day, my Internet Explorer, your real goal is just to help your clients. You want to spend as much time as possible changing people's lives and solving people's problems. And you don't want to waste countless hours each week trying to navigate the complex world of online marketing. You leave that to me, my Internet Explorer friend. And that's why I already know what it is that you're looking for. I already know what to say in the next episode because I'm around listening, because I already know my target audience is facing X, Y, and Z problems, and that's the reason why I'm coming up with these solutions. Because if you approach your marketing from this angle, you will win the attention of your audience and the respect of your competitors. All right? Maybe you've got their attention now, but are you going to keep it? Congratulations, my Internet Explorer. You've got their attention. They've taken a few steps into their buyer's journey with you. Maybe they're listening to your podcast now. They're engaging with you. You're educating them. You're inspiring them to want more, be more, and have more. But you still have a long way to go because their RAS may be wiped out by the next shiny object that comes their way. You've got to keep their attention until they buy. And how do you do that? In the same way that you won their attention initially, all right? You, by giving them attention, help people by actually helping them. Like we're doing right now. This is a course. If you look out on the internet, people like Tony Robbins or whatever it is, they're charging for information like this. But since you have arrived, you are an Internet Explorer. I want you to be able to navigate the online space using this podcast as your digital lighthouse. And I'm writing a book called Digital Lighthouse, again, my Internet Explorer. So depending on when you are it might actually be out by then, because I really want to pave way for all the Internet Explorers out there to arrive wherever they have been. You know what I mean? Because so much information is out there, and I want to be that yellow car that they can sport and know that we have arrived. I want to be that yellow car that when they see on the street, they literally know, yep, now I'm going out to generate hundreds of qualified leads without even having to, cold call or email just to beg clients to hire them. And how do I do that? Every single day on my podcast, Online Prosperity Experience, you need to subscribe, my Internet Explorer. You're not an Internet Explorer if you haven't subscribed. So don't call yourself that. And let me not catch you calling yourself an Internet Explorer if you haven't subscribed, because then, you don't want to know what happened to the last guy. You want to show them that you have the solution. People are coming to the internet to get information, and if they get that information from your website or your podcast or your content, my Internet Explorer friend, you will create a business that's profitable and enjoyable. You know why? Because people get to know you, like you, and trust you. And people do business with those they know, like, and trust. So you need to literally help them by actually helping them. Prove it. Prove that you've got the solution. Prove to them by showing them maybe case studies, testimonials from your happy customers, and only talk about your product just to show how it benefits them and to back up those claims you've made, not necessarily to sell to them. People like buying stuff, but they don't like being sold to. My Internet Explorer. So are your landing pages, are your websites, are your podcasts, are your social media profiles laying down on the job? Because if they are, fire them today. Put a fire, light a match, and watch that yellow flame glow. Oh, that was good. That was good. Pay me that one again. See, fire, yellow. Remember my yellow cars? Every time I was sporting a yellow car, I would be like, yep, that represents $1,000 in my bank. And it's now a game that I play with my kids. Yellow cars. All right? So you've got to keep your prospects' attention to the very end, up until money exchanges hands. And I was reading somewhere actually that you actually have to, you know what a lifetime value is for your customer, the duration of them staying with you and paying you. So every time you get a new customer, you need to at least have them for 3 months, or they need to pay you 3 times in order for you to replenish how much money you spend trying to acquire them. Because we don't measure the time that we are, reading, learning, talking, or the money that we pay our staff members or VAs in order for us to fulfill a product. All of that is cost of goods sold. Are you factoring that in order for you to, validate that your customer acquisition costs are not as expensive as you think they are? Because if somebody's not paying you at least 3 times, you're losing money to acquire that customer. So if you want to keep your prospects' attention to the very end, which you should, because then you're just praying and praying, and that's why you end up not generating any leads. All right? So don't let anything that you're putting out there sleep on the job. And this goes double for your landing pages, because they are 24/7 salespeople that should be selling for you while you sleep. If you're not making money while you sleep, my friend, you're going to be working for the rest of your life. So at this late stage of your online marketing journey or your digital marketing journey, you could easily lose your customers' attention if you are not paying attention to the things that interest them the most. Keep your best to stay focused, all right? What yellow cars is your customer looking for? Your landing pages, your podcasts, all of that information. Because if you have identified your target audience and you've clarified your message, it's super easy for you to engage the right kind of people with the right kind of pain and educate them to want more, be more, and have more. And show proof along the way. So that's why you need to focus more on what the customer is going through, and make sure that the copy that you have on your website is reader focused, customer orientated, customer first journeys, so that people can spot their yellow cars a mile away. So I want you to think very well, my Internet Explorer. Do you have the right information that is being sought out by your prospects right there? Because once you know exactly what your prospects are seeking, you can now start creating for and relating to them, and eventually you start creating diverse recurring revenue streams, which actually skyrocket your profitability and ensure that your business remains 100% bulletproof. We just came out of a pandemic. So during market downturns, global pandemics, and any lockdowns, your business will be sought after. You know why? Because you have paved the yellow brick road that your customers are going to be driving their yellow cars in order for them to have a business that's profitable and enjoyable, or a happier existence. I hope I've really done justice to this topic, because it's a very scientific and also very technical stuff, but I wanted you to learn how to grab and keep your audience attention by utilizing their reticular activated system, so that you are relevant to them, because everybody always moves around with a relevance filter. If you've got any questions, just reach out and we can touch base and find out how we can actually improve on your marketing. I really want you to start generating hundreds of qualified high-ticket leads like clockwork, so you never have to rely on cold calling or any emailing just to beg clients to hire you. And, stay relevant out there to the people that you're going to be seeking, to charge later on. Don't be as distracted as all the other people, and be sure you are the yellow car that your customers are always seeking out for. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, let's continue the conversation in the Live Long Digital community. Become a Live Long Digital community member today. This community is for ambitious entrepreneurs and small business owners with the drive to take control of the future of their businesses and achieve huge success without stress and overwhelm. As you heard, Prosper can help you by teaching you marketing strategies that work. So look no further than the Live Long Digital community of entrepreneurs and highly successful business owners. Join our community today. Find us on www.community.livelongdigital.com.au. Network with other driven entrepreneurs and find the expert guidance you need to take your business to the next level. www.community.livelongdigital.com.au